My sister tested me around her husband. That just kind of like weirds me out a little. This is actually crazy and there's going to be lots of details, so please bear with me. My sister recently got married. It's been about 3 to 4 months. I didn't really see much of them after the wedding with the honeymoon and then going back to work. But once a month, our family all gets together and my parents host a huge feast. Since this took place a week ago, it was for the month of August. During this dinner, my brother-in-law was being extremely weird towards me. He was complimenting my body, ignoring my sister, and just straight up acting so strange. Ew. It was completely unexpected for several reasons. One being that his wife was sitting right next to me. He has only been married a few months. Also, he's just never really spoken to or about me like that before. I felt really uncomfortable, and I'm sure it transpired to the rest of the room because what? Except it was weird because nobody was pointing anything out. I was extremely confused and I just wanted to leave. I left early, but when I got home, I just felt so icky. I don't even know how to describe it. I decided to message my sister and let her know that his behavior made me uncomfortable. I told her it was also concerning that he felt comfortable enough to say these things in front of my parents and brother. I explained that if she didn't feel comfortable being in the middle, I wouldn't mind explaining this to him myself. His behavior was so unnerving that I FaceTimed my boyfriend who was away for work in the US. I told him it was weird and how suddenly my brother-in-law's behavior towards me went from that of siblings to this horribly uncomfortable situation. He was pissed, rightfully so. My sister didn't respond to my texts until the next day. She asked me to meet up, so I did. I was expecting her to be upset and have him apologize for what he said. Instead, she admits that it was all a test and I passed. I was confused to say the least. What did she mean by test and passed? Like, what's going on? Turns out she had her husband do those things on purpose because she wanted to see how I would react if he had said those things to me and meant them. My reaction and choice to message her afterwards told her that I could be trusted around him. I was offended to say the least. Why would she think I couldn't be trusted? Well, let me tell you the, in my opinion, not very valid reason for this lack of trust. My sister has been married before. She was 27 and the divorce was about 10 months into her marriage. Her ex was a psycho, to say the least. He had known me longer than he did my sister. I was the one who had introduced them. They got along well and eventually started dating. It looked like the healthiest and most romantic relationship to grace planet Earth. Except when they got married. During their marriage, I was staying with them because it was closer to commute to work. They had extra bedrooms and I would pay rent and cook and clean for myself. My underwear, bras, and panties would often go missing. It started off small. I just assumed it got mixed up in my sister's laundry and would turn up eventually. But it was happening more frequently to the point that I was buying underwear almost weekly. Ew, I have a feeling I know where this is going. I kept pressuring my sister to admit that she was stealing my underwear, and she was adamant that it wasn't her. I decided to just ignore it and go on about my day. Something I hadn't even considered an option was the real reason. My former brother-in-law was stealing my underwear. I don't know, nor did I want to know what he was doing with it when I found out. But I was so disgusted and confused. Someone I thought was my friend was actually just a perv. He admitted he had never actually loved my sister and was just using her to get to me. I was just so creeped out and I pressed charges against him for his sickening behavior. I was able to get a restraining order and my sister divorced him almost instantly after finding out. She used something traumatic that happened to me and flipped it to make it seem like I was the one who was untrustworthy. She claimed that I must have strung him along for him to think like that and that this test was just to prove that I wasn't doing it again. This is not what I was expecting. Safe to say, I was extremely hurt and angry by her response, so I told her to never speak or contact me again if that's what she really thought of me. My family found out for the most part, agreed that her behavior is crazy, but my mother stood by her actions and said my sister was just trying to protect herself from ever getting hurt again. Seems like you need to be running some tests on your husband and the men you're dating, not your sister. Why is sister getting blamed for this? I told her if she had just been honest with me from the start, I wouldn't have been as bothered. There's a right way to approach things, and then there's a wrong way. This isn't just wrong, it's also crazy. Why is she so adamant it's my life goal to hurt her? I didn't know that her ex was going to turn out like that, so why am I being punished? She claimed that I should have had some indication he liked me, but he really made it seem like he was head over heels for my sister. How am I supposed to know what's going on in someone else's mind? Anyway, the family dinner was earlier for this month, and it was the most compatible date for everyone's schedules, which was yesterday. I told my parents to expect me not to show up if my sister and my brother-in-law were going. It wasn't even because I refused to ever speak to her again. I had just said that because the situation was so fresh. I told my mother I would apologize when I had cooled down a little. Apologize for what? Am I going crazy?
Am I out of my mind? Am I losing my senses?
It was just difficult to face them when they made me feel like a horrible person for a situation that was out of my control. My mother assured me my sister wouldn't attend, so I agreed to come. When I arrived, they were both there. It felt like an ambush, and it sort of was. My sister demanded that I apologize for my reaction because it was my own fault it happened in the first place. I can't lie, I snapped. I told her she should remove my number and the title of being my sister if she really felt that way. I just need some advice because therapy isn't scheduled for another 2 weeks, and I feel like I just dreamt a soap opera storyline. I feel kind of bad because I do understand that my sister had her trust broken completely by her ex, but I feel like that distrust shouldn't be aimed at me, but the person who actually caused it. And I was the one who introduced her to the a-hole in the first place, so I feel guilty for that already. But I am failing to see how her schemes to manipulate me into thinking she's being wronged by a husband once again is just far too extreme. Number one, I want to apologize to her for one reason, for ever introducing her to that man. And number two, I really need her to see that I wasn't trying anything when her ex was stealing my underwear. I was just as in the dark as her. How do I go about doing the above? Because I want to put this behind me and move on. I was just about healing from her former marriage, and now this one is also putting me in a very uncomfortable position with my sister, my brother-in-law, and my own mother. Any advice on how to tackle apologizing, getting back my sister's trust, and showing her I truly just want the best for her? P.S. My mind is going to so many things, but one thing it's going to, why would the brother-in-law agree to that? Is that not also uncomfortable for him? Like, if your partner came to you and said, hey, I need you to like flirt and be inappropriate with my sister because I want to test if she'll flirt back with you, wouldn't you kind of be like, no, I think we just need to have a conversation about what you're actually feeling and why you're asking me to do this? Like, what's going on? Let's figure this out. That would be so weird. Ugh. Because Matt has brothers. Ugh. Ooh. They're like brothers. Ugh. That would be so weird. They also would never. All right, we're gonna check out the top comments because I need to know what Reddit is thinking of this story. Someone commented and said, "You have nothing to apologize for. Stop accepting the blame for something you had no part in other than being the victim. Your sister's ex was stalking you and she was caught in the crossfire. Then all this stuff with her new husband, you have nothing to apologize for either. Honestly, your sister and your mom are crazy. They're blaming you for the fact that your sister came into contact with a crazy person stalking you and fell for him. Then to absolve her of all the blame for not realizing what was going on, it's become all your fault. Do not apologize. Do not make compromises with them. Your sister is a horrible, disrespectful piece of shite, and I would cut all contact with her until she makes some kind of apology. You are being painted as the bad guy because something bad happened to you. Personally, I would remove myself from both of their lies until either of them see the light or they would not see me again. You don't need your sister's trust back. She literally played you with some weird fake test to prove you were honest when you had never been dishonest in the first place. F those people. Get angry. You are being disrespected in this as much as you were being disrespected by that horrible prick she once married. The fact that the other two went along with this paints them as bad as she is. I could not sit in a room with these awful effing simulacrums of human beings for a moment without some major apologizing and kissing. And even then, I would most likely never be able to speak civilly to them again. Yeah, that was honest is quite a word to choose. That person did not hold back, but also that is where my mind is at right now. Like, this is crazy that you think you have to apologize for something. Bizarre. Next comment. Yeah, if my wife asked me to hit on her relative, friend, enemy, whoever, that's a no for me, dog. Exactly. Next comment. The level of manipulation and gaslighting going on here is astonishing, and the fact that you even feel the need to apologize is a result of that manipulation and gaslighting. You have literally done nothing wrong. There is a difference between feeling empathy for your sister for going through the horrible situation she went through with her ex and actually needing to apologize for it. There are multiple people who should be apologizing in this situation, and none of them are you. Your sister for doing something so manipulative and disgusting to you, and then acting like you somehow deserved it. Your brother-in-law for being effed up enough to go along with it. He should have had enough sense and respect for you to not participate, regardless of what your sister said. Your mom and any other family members who actually knew what was happening and didn't have the decency to put a stop to it. You clearly have a good heart and love your family, but your mind is being effed with. Stand up for yourself and demand an apology. I mean, that's where I'm at, but let me know what you guys think. We do have an update, so we're gonna find out if she in fact did put her foot down, stand her ground. I have a feeling she might not have. She seems sweet. But also manipulated. Before we get to the update, you already know what time it is. It's hydration station. I do make the rules, yes. You guys all keep pointing out, you do make the rules. I do. But I don't make the rules that our bodies need water, you know? That's like a fact of life. I wish we needed juice. That'd be way more fun. Cheers. Drink your water. Look at me, getting all prepped and ready for hydration station. I won't forget. I have forgotten in the past, and then I have to run like mid-video to go get a cup of water, but not today. We are ready, which means you should be ready too. Pause the video at this point if you haven't grabbed your beverage of choice. It can be anything. So the update came a few days later. A lot has happened the last couple of days. Well, I hope one thing happened, and I hope that was an apology on their end. I've tried to read all the comments and take in everyone's advice. This has been the outcome. I lost a sister and a mother in 2 days. It's heartbreaking more than anything. I had a meet up with everyone. My boyfriend came with me, so I had support during the conversation. Honestly, it was hard to look at any of them for the way they treated me. I'm so thankful to everyone opening my eyes to the crazy behavior exhibited in the first part of the story. In front of everyone, my mother admitted to knowing about the plans from the start. That's so creepy. My sister confided in her and she agreed that it was a good idea. She supported her son-in-law by openly harassing her daughter. I'm in complete shock, and it just hurts so much knowing that she would condone this, considering she knew how much I was affected by this first husband. She knew I was having a difficult time in therapy. It took me a long time to trust people again after that. And I feel like once again, my trust has been broken. I don't know how I'm ever going to trust anyone ever again. I'm really thankful my boyfriend was there to comfort me, because it was so hard keeping my composure around them. My sister was not budging at all. She kept maintaining that she was in the right. She said the only reason I wouldn't apologize is because deep down, I knew what her ex was like. She said that I just liked getting attention from him, knowing he was married to my sister. She also claimed that I overreacted, and if it's acting, then it's not harassment. I told her she shouldn't expect any calls or texts or just not to be contacted by me until I receive the apology I deserve from both her and my brother-in-law. Speaking of, he was pretty silent through the whole thing, probably because my father threatened his life if he spoke bad about me. He did say the only reason he did it was to please my sister because she kept accusing him of oogling me. But still, no apology from him. There are so many toxic things in every single one of these relationships. My mother, this one broke my heart the most. She told me I was exaggerating and that I should be happy to have passed my sister's test. She actually said the words, "We can all move on now." I was in complete awe, to be honest. How could she think that things would just go back to normal after this? I asked why she was supporting such delusional behavior. She said it was because she loved my sister and wanted her to be happy. I asked her if she loved me as much as my sister. She said yes. It seemed hesitant, but I don't want to read too much into that. I told her I wanted an apology for her schemes. She refused, so I gave her the same conditions I gave my sister and brother-in-law. Until I get an apology, I simply am not speaking to all three of them. As a result, I also probably have to go low contact with my brother and dad because they both live with my mother. I mean, I'll hang out with them outside and without the presence of my mother, but if she will let them is the question. I know some of you have suggested spending time with my boyfriend's family on holidays and occasions. I think it was just one person, but oh well. I haven't met my boyfriend's family before because they live in the US, but after this situation, I have taken 2 weeks paid holiday for the end of this month, and he's taking me to meet them for the first time. I hope it all goes well because they might be the only family that I have now. My therapy session has been moved to tomorrow because I requested an emergency appointment. Wish me luck. Anyway, my biggest thanks goes to all of you Redditors for helping me see the situation for what it was. For your advice and compassion, I'm really grateful. I don't think I would have been able to get through this on my own. It's likely I would have caved and apologized just for the pattern to repeat itself. Truly, thank you so much. Wishing you all the best, and I hope you know that your advice might have just saved me from my need to always please others. I will look back on this moment anytime I feel like putting someone else's feelings above my own comfort. Girl, I gotta say, I'm sorry you had to learn the lesson this way, but I'm happy that it was learned. Okay, let's check out some of the top comments now. Someone said, never saw the original post until now. Good for you. I absolutely would not have anything to do with either of them until they recognized their behavior was unacceptable as well. Also, I can't say I have very much faith in your sister's new marriage if she finds this acceptable. And him, let's not forget. Regardless, glad you made a decision that you're at peace with. OP responded and said, it was a difficult decision. Our culture is centered around family, which is why we would get together as much as possible. It's going to be strange not seeing them as often, but my memories with them have been tainted by this horrible experience. Yeah, I don't know how you come back from that, especially without accountability and an apology. Next comment. This is obviously not the perfect update, but please enjoy your trip to the States. This is the problem that you will have in the future. If they do apologize to you, are they doing so because of the ultimatum or not? Honestly, I wouldn't trust your sister's apology ever, and I would only accept your mother's if your brother and father vouched for her. This is going to be rough, so trying to find different ways to communicate with your father and brother when you know your mother won't be around. Set up times for calls with the strict instructions that she isn't welcome to talk at this time. You put the pressure on them to come visit. If your father refuses to visit you alone, then you have additional answers. Also, what does your extended family think of the situation? Right. OP wrote back and said, I haven't told anyone anything. I feel a bit embarrassed to tell anyone, to be honest, but none of my extended family members have mentioned anything to me, so I don't think my mother or sister have really talked about it to anyone else. It is embarrassing. I would be embarrassed if I was mom, sister, or brother-in-law. How do you tell that story? Oh yeah, so this is what I did. Embarrassing. Okay, let me know your thoughts and feelings. I feel like it's clear what mine are. It's really hard to hide my feelings, especially with my facial expressions, but let me know what you're thinking, all right? Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.